Well, you're with Julian on the Brown Note. Normally, I have actually got a lot further than this in the show by the time I've done my first movie review, so it's probably going to be one. The Instigators, a review of The Instigators, now out on streaming, I believe, by Doug Liman, who is one of the unsung greats in American directorial modern era. The filmography is incredibly diverse and often very interesting. The first major film that he got credit for was Swingers, which is deemed a classic, and also Go, which was like a druggy film that again has a bit of a cult following. After that, he did the Bourne Identity. There's been some downers, like Mr. and Mrs. Smith was a complete misnomer for me. Not a misnomer, it sounds exactly like what it says on the tin. I just found it incredibly flat. Fair Game, I think that had its fans. Edge of Tomorrow, I thought was really, really good, and I think a lot of people did as well. The Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt film, which is still, people crying out for a sequel to that. And even the Tom Cruise one, American Made, even though it was a bit of a failure, there was a lot of it that was really, really interesting. And the Roadhouse film as well I thought was very good. I thought he did a great job. So his latest film, The Instigators, isn't quite up there and involves a lot of people that he's previously worked with. It's a very rote crime caper with a usual suspect sort of roll call of generic characters. So we get Casey Affleck and Matt Damon as two not the best criminals out there, hired for a job which is to rob the mayor of the city, who's played by Ron Perlman, who is massively corrupt and, as we find out, has an awful lot of money squirreled away. The problem is that they are looking to steal the donations made to the mayor, Ron Perlman, when he wins the election, and he doesn't. So the money isn't there, but it's not there because he lost. It's not there because they didn't do their undercover work enough. So they're employed by Michael Stuhlbarg, a very famous actor as well, to rob the mayor, but he actually transfers all the money out. So the whole thing goes to hell in a handbasket. They end up in a gunfight in the mayor's office, or in the atrium where the mayor's standing around, and they shoot a policeman, and then they go on the run for the rest of the movie with the entire world breathing down their necks. And the other main character is a psychiatrist who's treating the Matt Damon, who is manically depressed character, and they don't really expand on why enough. It could have been an interesting part, but Hong Chow as Dr. Rivera, she's a psychiatrist that is treating Matt Damon and gets sucked into them being on the run and so on. And most of the scenarios that happen from then out are very generic. So they basically have to circle back and complete the robbery to try and flee because the whole world wants them. The cast is great. Alfred Molina, Van Rhymes. The Hong Chow is great as a psychiatrist. Casey Affleck is superb in this. In fact, Casey Affleck and Hong Chow, when they are together, taking chunks out of each other, and waspishly belittling each other is the high point of the film. Matt Damon's a little bit dead, to be honest, in this one. But it's got enough enjoyable moments. It's just very flat. It just doesn't have much that's compelling, and the humour doesn't always work. So whenever Hong Chow and Casey Affleck are on screen, they seem to have this sort of to and fro that is funnier than much of what else happens. It's like this very sort of sub-Tarantino world from many years ago. And none of the characters are developed. So Casey Affleck gets a pass just by nangling his performance so well, but the Matt Damon character, you're just like, well, who are you? Why should I invest in what's going on with you mentally when I don't really know anything about you? And you don't really know anything about anyone. It feels at times like there's a different film in here trying to burst out. It feels like they're trying to reference capitalism, political corruption, and those are the stronger sort of rivers in the film, or the stronger currents, I should say, in the film. rather than the bog standard crime drama it pretends to be all the time. It's like the director had a different idea, one that was sanded down to oblivion, and there are these thoughts about the impact of economy on people and the impact of political corruption, which are so tepidly dipped into. It makes me wonder if the original screenplay was something very, very different. Again, it's a very enjoyable watch in fits. It's certainly not all the way through. It's reasonably colourful and well designed and put together, and it's like so flat. I'm going to give the Instigators, which is a fittingly flat name, a completely flat 5 out of 10. I don't think I could recommend it in any way or necessarily say that it wasn't worth watching a little. So 5 out of 10 for the Instigators.